Let the dogs out! Let the dogs out! Ladies and gentlemen, Gungan Drugs, all you beautiful County Moon Conants, welcome to today's video where let me tell you, none of your chicken nuggies are safe today because we have the one and only Batcher here in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Today, my friends, we're going to be talking about what is this beautiful little good dog bringing into the game? Well, not a lot right now. But it's going to hopefully ease some of the concerns that I have for this new Bad Batch team moving forward. But you know what? Before we start talking about the new Batcher and what she's bringing to the Bad Batch crew, there's something that just has hit me emotionally on a deep metaphysical level that I want to make sure I share with you guys. Now, the other day on stream, thank you all for coming out when we tested out Batcher. I shared this, and I'm going to share it one more time. CG, this right here, this beautiful post from the one and only CC Brown. I've never found a post that I related to more. We got to do something about this because it drives me crazy. It's like, you know what we should do? Whoever designed that UI or whoever approved that UI, we need to make sure we infiltrate that in every single part of their life. They're trying to make a left turn. They're trying to process the payment. Anyways, getting sidetracked. Let's get back on topic. But actually, you know what? Side thing. Finally got my Reddit page unlocked again, so people post your memes, your dreams, whatever you want on the Arnold T11 Reddit page. No idea why it got restricted. We need to bring back monthly meme reviews, so you better have your A-game memes. And you know what? We'll have a little meme review thing coming back again, because you know what? In Galaxy, when things get snoozy, we got to get some memes to keep us cruisy. Batcher time. So let's talk about Batcher and what she's bringing right now in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And as always, we have our beautiful modding graphic. Big thanks to people for providing these. People love these graphics. As always, a lot of this is going to be, preliminary what you want to do right now, but we're still waiting on 1, 2, 3 more Bad Batch members. But as of now, if you're going to mod her up, good thing is she's got a really solid base speed. So you can get her pretty fast. I think she's 184 base speed, so that's pretty darn good. Where we're going to try to get Batcher around 320 speed. We want to lock in some offense, crit chance mod. And as we're going to talk about, she's got these debuffs. Potency might be nice, but I got a little bit of a problem with it. And let's talk about the goods and the bads. It's mostly going to be bad. She's not a bad girl. It's just, you're not ready for what's to come here. It's okay. You're a good girl. Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? All right, let's get down to business. Bad Batch, new Batcher. What is going on right now in the game? Now, let's first start off with this. Let's give a reminder on the new Bad Batch team that is forming. Obviously, starting up with Omega Fugitive. Massive thumbs up. If you haven't seen what we can do with their card in the top right-hand corner, but she's on the nerf radar right now. Whatever it might be, something of Nihilus they're not liking. Could be that Nihilus can insta-kill in 2 seconds. I don't know. It was so hard. I don't know why they didn't notice it at first. But nonetheless, we're starting out very strong with Bad Batch Omega. But the concerns that are starting to boil up, number one, is what we're going to see with their going to get nerfed. The whole cooldown reduction, are they going to contain it? I don't know what they're up to. But furthermore, we were told that there's going to be no legendary unit associated with this, no galactic legend type of thing associated, and no event. There was supposed to be an event. It got chopped right in half, and I don't know if it's ever going to see the light of day. So they're basically telling us the reason to build up this new team is because they're supposed to be really, really good. Well, time will tell. They started off strong with Bad Batch Omega, and I don't want to turn this video into Omega Appreciation Video Part 2, but with Batcher, let's just say I'm not seeing that forward progression with this character. And let's highlight what this good little girl can do right now. What Batcher can do, and she's got the Bad Batch tag, and that's basically it. Finito. You can't do anything else with her, unfortunately. And that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I'm an old school guy with Galaxy Heroes. When I came into Galaxy Heroes, all the fun little plug and play options, that was my dream. But now we're in a game mode, or an era of our game where everything's got to be nice little contained packages. This team must be this. Oh no, you can't break up that team. This team's got to be that. So we're not going to see a lot of plug and play action with Batcher. However, she's got pluggish, playish kind of things that she's sort of a budget version of Jedi Knight Revan is, let me emphasize that, a very budget version of Jedi Knight Revan. She's going to be primarily trying to direct the traffic inside of the new Bad Batch squad. Downside is, let's just bring it up right now. Piercing Howl is more or less kind of the crown jewel on what this character is all about. With the Piercing Howl, all Bad Batch allies are going to get 30% offense for 3 turns, or 2 turns, I apologize, dispelling all buffs, and inflict mark on the target enemy for 2 turns, which can't be resisted, which is cool. But you know, there's 2 other little things that you kind of need to really make a debuff fully functional. The 3 things you're looking for with a debuff are irresistible. Okay, we got that going on. Unavoidable, we don't have that. And thirdly, what's the third one? Come on, people, put it in the comment section. We're looking for unavoidable. Unfortunately, did I already say that? Let's repeat that again. You want irresistible, unavoidable, and undispellable. Unfortunately, she's only got 1 of those, and it kind of caused a bit of a problem. The mark is very helpful. Don't get me wrong. You can try to mark something around the tank. It's very helpful. That's why Jedi Knight Revan is Jedi Knight Revan. But Jedi Knight Revan, he's unavoidable, he's undispellable, and irresistible. I knew I had it in there somewhere. Well, we only got 1 of those, and the problem is, a lot of teams nowadays, what does every team almost ever have? It's like every team has a cleanse of some sort for the most part. It's kind of like the bare minimum. Like in a team, you want a good tank, you want a good damage dealer, you want to cleanse, buff, dispels. And that's the issue that we're having. A lot of the teams out there have some sort of dispel. And when you get the mark, it's cool, but then it get cleansed right away. And that's kind of the big issue. However, there is a redeeming factor, and I want to remind us, even myself, Arnold, can I call myself? There we go. Arnold, there's gonna be another couple Bad Batch members, so don't worry about it. Okay, I'm not worried about it. Are you worried about it? No, I'm not worried about it. What we have here is a 2-turn cooldown, and that kind of compensates a little bit. Jedi Knight Revan's mark, for example, is a 3-turn cooldown. With 2 turns, basically gonna be able to do it all the time, more or less. And that's one thing I'm liking about the new Bad Batch team. They're already rocking some pretty low cooldowns. Bad Batch Omega's cooldown manipulation, very low cooldown, which is pretty nuts. Again, I'm hoping she stays the way she is. But the good news is, even if the mark does get cleansed, she's gonna likely do it again. So I think that's the upside to what we have. Dispelling the buffs is good, fantastic, and we can try to get ourselves ability block on all enemies with off balance for 1 turn and offense down on all enemies for 2 turns. And so that's basically the extent on what I like right now. I think the best way to really kind of, picture Batcher is she's sort of like Padawan Sabine, Padawan Obi-Wan, Shin, from last year, where they're attackers. She's got the attacker tag, but she's not really landing damage right now. And that's kind of the big problem. If you're an attacker, you need to hit hard. And I can only assume when we get the additions of the Mercenary Crosshair, or Scarred Crosshair, Mercenary Hunter, Mercenary Wrecker, then we're gonna probably see something. A lot of people speculating, we're gonna get an insta kill from Crosshair. There's gonna be a bunch of unique abilities that are gonna be doing something to kind of amplify stuff even more, just like we saw those other examples from 2024. But right now, we're not gonna be able to see much. I mean, even the unique ability that we have on Batcher. Let me just say this, I do appreciate Simple Kid. She's a very simple kid compared to stuff that we've had in recent history. I think a lot of us would agree. But this unique ability, LH-201, it's basically a very short unique ability if you think about it. You get to ignore stealth and taunt during her turn, which is kind of nice, right? Being able to ignore stealth, we take that for granted. That's very powerful. Generally, yeah, you can ignore taunt, but being under stealth is kind of the way to kind of work around that. This is a very limited thing that I think is going to get appreciated more as we progress towards the future. But one thing I want to bring up in this unique ability, although it's very short technically in what I can do right now with her, it would have been nice if it's like the other unique abilities we see, like, Bad Batch allies get 5 trillion offense and they're in you can't defeat them at all. We don't have a crazy unique ability, but down the road as we move along, this unique ability on LH-201 is going to become a little bit more important. And we're seeing a small glimpse right now, albeit a very small glimpse, where when another Bad Batch ally is inflicted with captive, so they basically got defeated. And it was kind of cool. For example, in some of the sample gameplay, we see Jabba the Hutt trying to insta-kill. And the Omega lead, Bad Batch Omega Fugitive lead, you can't insta-kill basically. If you try to insta-kill, it basically gives them a shot to stay around a little bit longer, allowing you to kind of go through the captivity sequence. And we're not really able to fully utilize that at the moment. But the good news is, For Batcher exclusively, when someone does get captured, she basically goes sicko mode at this point, and she starts getting 50% offense, 50 plus speed, and then we get to reduce the cooldown of Piercing Howl, the mark ability, reduced by 1, where basically every single turn, you're able to get out there and get the mark, get the extra offense boost to the Bad Batch allies. So that's kind of nice. And Bad Batch, she's always going to assist herself when using a special ability, which is going to be nice. But right now, the problem is you really only can get Omega in captivity to really benefit from this. But down the road, you know, my expectation is Wrecker is probably going to be the first one to get captured. You know, he's likely going to taunt. You know, we don't know what the new kit's going to be for this new Wrecker. So it's going to give you an opportunity to let Batcher keep getting out there, keep pumping out the offense, being able to get that extra speed. And again, this character's already pretty darn fast with the base speed. Getting an extra 50 speed is nice. Omega, Bad Batch Omega, she gets a massive boost of speed on her unique ability too. So one thing we're seeing so far, although it's kind of hard to see where the new team's going to look like, we can see at the very minimum 2 things off the get-go. Low cooldowns, pretty fast speeds, and I'm wondering if we're going to see that theme continue for the other characters out there. But otherwise, as it stands, you know, Ferocious Bite, it's got the Omicron. I'm not sold on this ability right now. The similar problem like the previous ability, where you get to inflict these decent debuffs like Pinned, get the Bleed, which is a new unique thing where for every bleed you lose 5% speed, tenacity, you lose 5% health. But the problem is, you know, things like Pinned, it doesn't stick around. And unlike the stat from last year where Pinned is actually useful because when you get it on, it stays on. Here, unfortunately, super easy to cleanse off Pinned, so it's like, it feels like a nothing debuff for the most part. The Bleed, kind of hard to see the full benefit out of it, but again, I think, you know, we got to understand some things with these new characters that they're designing. There are some buffs, debuffs that seem stupid, you know, irrelevant. But, you know, all it takes is for someone to say in their unique ability, if opponent has Bleed, deal 25% max health damage when they're hit. You know, something like that. Right now, the Bleed feels, it's sort of like, maybe it's not the right analogy, but you know, Disarm from Chrysanthemum, it's, you know, it's doing something, but oftentimes doesn't feel like meaningful enough. It could very well be that, and that's it. But I feel like at least Chrysanthemum's Disarm feels a little bit more impactful than this. But Ferocious Bite, not much going on here. And then that basic ability on the Crushing Assault, you're able to get speed down, okay. And then you're able to get the defense down and to get some 2 stacks of off balance. We're not getting enough off balance out there right now. And this is a very much so sort of like a Padawan Sabine thing where, yeah, we got off balance. Can't really do much with it until obviously the full team comes together. So I think at the end of the day, I could summarize the biggest issues. Number 1, she's an attacker, not doing a lot of damage, which I could only assume is going to get improved as time goes on and we have those other 3 Bad Batch members work its way into the crew. Second problem, the debuffs. Debuffs aren't really fun. You know, let me remind you of something, or let me give you a little tale. Come on over. Let's have a sip of tea on Grandpappy's front porch. Sit on the rocket chair. Back in my day of Galaxy of Heroes, thermal detonators used to be cleansable. I know. It's like this. Thermal detonators are kind of useless if they're cleansed. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. It's been a long time, but the point goes, even if I am wrong, I'm pretty sure I am right. Again, I'm basically a boomer in Galaxy of Heroes years at this point. Back in my day, people were allowed to use Ayla Sakura with Direct or Krennic, and I don't know, maybe throw a CLS in there. No, nowadays you can't do that. No, it's against the new rule book of Capital Games over there. But the point being is, debuffs, although they sound cool on paper, if they get cleansed off very quickly, it doesn't mean a whole lot. And that's the problem I think we're having here. And you know, who knows? Maybe things will get improved. But at the end of the day, we got to get that damage up there a little bit more, which will likely get solved. And who knows, maybe those debuffs will become even more threatening as we get around the corner. But as it stands, we got a bit of a journey before we really see this new Bad Batch team come together. And as a word of caution, one more time, I know we start up extremely strong, probably stronger than CG even intended, with the Bad Batch Omega Fugitive Edition. We don't know if there's going to be a nerf coming. That's going to be a big question mark. And boy, wouldn't that really suck? You know, after all this Bad Batch stuff, like, you know, like, yeah, we're going to nerf Omega. Ooh, I can already feel the blood boiling in my body right now. We don't know what's 100% confirmed with Omega. Secondly, there's no legendary unit associated with this. And thirdly, no event. So if you're pushing for this team, it's solely for, allegedly, they're going to be a good team, which I'm going to take at face value. I think, you know, it's going to be good. We have to wait and see for the rest of the come in. But what I'm seeing right now, we're at a good foundation. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't think Batcher's really getting us there. Unlike, for example, last year when we started building up the Gungans, we saw right away what Boss Nass could do. It's like, okay. And then each new unit, we started to see that steady improvement. I'm not seeing anything too special right now. I still feel like I'd much rather use an old Bad Batch character instead of Batcher, because as we've shown in the past, even though we're focusing mostly on Omega's cooldown reduction ability, her lead's actually not trashed. It's actually pretty good. It's basically Maul Zeta 2.0. Again, don't want to go too much into praising Omega for a second video. Today's mostly about Batcher, but if you are going to use the new Bad Batch team, I think you use Bad Batch Omega Fugitive 100%. But, you know, I don't know if Batcher is really going to be a contributing member for now, but give it time. Let's get those next Bad Batch members in here, and we might be in for a little bit different of a story as we get closer to that end zone. Nonetheless, people, that's going to wrap it up for today. Leave your thoughts down below on what you're thinking of this new, brand new Bad Batch Omega Fugitives Batcher. I don't know why I keep saying Bad Batch Omega Fugitive. You know, CG loves their tags. I figure I just like spit them all out. It's not that much because CG forgot to put the clone tag, the mercenary tag. I don't know, the unaligned force user tag. What am I to say? But anyways, there's one thing I can say. I'm going to thank you for your time here today, because around these parts, you always like to say how it's great to be in the Empire today.